In September 1989, Doug Muckler reported for duty as a counterintelligence officer at Fort Richardson, just outside Anchorage, Alaska. His job involved investigating espionage and terrorism, requiring a thorough understanding of Alaska's rugged terrain and vast wilderness, which was quite different from his home state of Ohio. Alaska, almost 700,000 square miles in size, is nearly twice the size of Texas. As Doug spread out several maps across a giant table in the map room, he noticed something unusual on a map of Denali National Park. A small area about the size of his thumb was whited out and labeled, "This area not surveyed to date." This caught Doug's attention because, as a military intelligence officer, he knew that every inch of Alaska had been surveyed. He found this odd, but set the question aside, figuring he would learn more if it became relevant to his work. Three years later, in late 1992, Doug was among a group of off-duty soldiers watching a news story about an underground nuclear detonation in China. The explosion was powerful enough to send shockwaves through the Earth's crust, all the way to Alaska. However, the real news wasn't the explosion itself, but what seismologists discovered. A cross-section of a massive object about 100 feet below the surface in central Alaska. It was a pyramid, larger than the Great Pyramid of Giza, standing 550 feet tall from base to peak. Doug noticed the map on the news and realized the pyramid's location coincided with the area marked as "not surveyed" on his map from 3 years earlier. Determined to verify this, Doug ran to the map room and confirmed his suspicion. He then set his VCR to record the 11 p.m. news, but the story wasn't mentioned again. When he called his news-savvy friends, none of them had heard anything about it either. The next day, Doug used his military intelligence credentials to visit the local news station. The station manager denied any knowledge of the story, leaving Doug confused because he knew he wasn't the only one who saw it. Over 40 soldiers had watched the same broadcast. As Doug prepared to leave, a young employee pulled him aside, nervously confirming the story was true. He explained that shortly after the broadcast, 2 men in suits came to the station, grilled the boss, and confiscated all tapes of the story. The news director then ordered them to kill the story, citing national security concerns due to the Chinese nuclear test. Doug promised to keep the young man's involvement a secret, but remained frustrated and suspicious. A year later, Doug was transferred to Fort Meade in Maryland, the headquarters of the NSA. Fort Meade housed a vast archive of government files. Doug, still curious about the pyramid, approached the archivist with a vague request for files on archaeological sites in Alaska. The archivist, unperturbed, provided the necessary details for Doug to find the files. However, as Doug began reading, 2 men appeared, instructing him to leave, stating he had no need to know that information. They hinted at something more, mentioning entities they didn't want anyone messing with up there. Doug left without further confrontation, but later went public with his story after leaving the service. Marty Johnson, an engineer in the Navy during World War II, provided corroborating details. He was flown to Unalakleet, Alaska, and then driven to a secret location. There, he discovered an underground facility housing a massive black pyramid. The officers running the facility proudly referred to it as the Dark Pyramid. Marty worked on high-classified projects there, confirming the pyramid was a powerful energy generator. In 1978, Lee Pearson, a retired veteran, experienced a similar revelation. While visiting a fellow vet and helicopter pilot, he was offered a chance to visit a secret base near Denali. During the flight, their instruments went haywire, but they managed to land safely. The base was heavily guarded, and the personnel wore unmarked uniforms. Lee learned from the pilot that the pyramid was a powerful energy generator, potentially capable of powering the entire country. Further intrigue came from Pat Price, a remote viewer involved in Project Stargate, a CIA program focused on psychic spying. Price identified an underground base in the Alaska Triangle near Mount Hayes, operated by both humans and aliens. His descriptions matched the dark pyramid Doug and others had encountered. Bruce Pearson, Lee's son, used the information his father provided to locate what he believed was the site of the dark pyramid. Hiring a plane, he discovered squared-off land and an old airstrip, suggesting prior human activity. Coordinates provided by another retired Navy officer aligned with this location, supporting Bruce's findings. Nathan Campbell, in 2020, attempted to hike to the coordinates of the Dark Pyramid. After weeks of radio silence, a search team found his abandoned campsite, but Nathan was never found. Some speculate he discovered the pyramid and was deleted, while others think he perished in the harsh wilderness. Remote viewing accounts further confirmed the pyramid's existence and purpose. A witness saw a small building leading to an underground facility housing the Dark Pyramid. This facility was bustling with activity, overseen by a non-human entity. The pyramid served as an energy charging station for UFOs, explaining the numerous sightings in the Alaska Triangle. Despite the compelling stories and witness accounts, skepticism remains. Doug Muckler's credibility as a former military intelligence officer is questioned, especially given the history of disinformation within the UFO community. While Doug provided documents proving his identity, some details of his story, such as the timing of the Chinese nuclear test, don't align with known events. Nonetheless, the legend of the Dark Pyramid persists. Witnesses like Marty Johnson, Lee Pearson, and remote viewers provide consistent descriptions, and evidence of human activity in remote areas of Alaska adds to the mystery. The Dark Pyramid, if real, represents a significant enigma, blending ancient structures, advanced energy technology, and potential extraterrestrial involvement. Thanks for watching this episode of Monster Shorts. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more chilling tales and supernatural stories from around the world. Have you heard of any other creepy tales you'd like me to cover? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious.
Whispers from the void, rustles calling in the night. Madness creeping through my veins, dark gods waiting out of sight. Creatures stitches filled with dread, mankind choking on its fate. In the night, insanity within my head, tentacles at the gate, out the car. He waits in the depths. Monstrous fate, take your last breath. He waits in the depths. Slumbering hate, awakening death.